Let's go, let's go.
Baseline drive and throws it down with no air.
You're good, nice. Good job.
Good pass down low to Wellfield, throw it down. Green fires a three, and that's good.
Welcome to the Tim Miles Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back inside Moby Arena and another edition of the Tim Miles Coaches Show. I'm your host, Brian Roth. Here's what we have coming up in the program. We'll take a look back at a successful week for Colorado State, as got a couple of wins over Air Force and Utah. We'll also be joined by Rams sophomore Greg Smith, and we'll take a break from basketball, talk a little women's tennis with senior Caitlin Fluge and head coach John Messick. But first, of course, we talk men's basketball with the coach Tim Miles. Tim, fresh from the Big Apple in New York City. You and Coach Smith went out to the Big Apple to celebrate the win, huh?
Yeah, we just thought we'd hang out. Virgil's a nice barbecue place on 42nd and Broadway. So, no, we miss Virgil's, but we did see some high school gyms that are always important, and I got a chance to watch some ball games. So it was a good trip, quick trip, but we'll be ready for practice today.
Yeah, the life of a coach maybe isn't always as glamorous as some people think. Good wins last week. Let's start with that Air Force game. And, that was an Air Force team that came in, hit some big threes, and all of a sudden you guys were down by 8 in the second half.
Well, especially after being up by 11 early, you felt like you were doing okay. And early in the game, we were 4 or 5 points, and it felt like we should be up by 10 or 12. And I thought, oh, man. And we were shooting the three poorly. I think we ended the first half 12 for 17 from the 2-point line, and I won't even pretend to say what we were from the 3-point line. I think we made one and then missed our next 10 or 12, or then some. And so it was one of those nights that, they had packed it in. We were trying to get the ball to Ogade, Franklin, and really got sparked in the second half by Travis Franklin. He had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, some kind of line like that. Pierce Horning was 6 for 6. Greg Smith was critical, and it hit a big shot to extend our lead to a 2-possession game late in that game.
Yeah, you talked about Pierce and the assists from Franklin. A lot of those Franklin assists went to Pierce.
Well, yeah, we're getting the ball to Travis down low. They double him or start to hedge toward him. Pierce kept moving, and Travis is a team guy. He's looking out for his teammates, and he wants everybody to play well, and I thought he did a good job finding Pierce especially.
With that matchup zone defense that Air Force throws at you, and with the fact that they really like to congest the middle, did you think going into that game that you would probably have to shoot the three well?
Well, yeah, I did. And then when we found out Wes Eichmeyer wasn't going to be available in the game, just previous to warm-ups, Wes had a foot injury that just kind of progressively got worse from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday, to a point where he didn't think he'd go on Wednesday. Now I was like, oh boy, somebody's got to make a three, So we ended up starting Andre McFarland, who had practiced really well, even though he hadn't played. And that didn't work out the way we'd hoped, but at the same time, kids did just enough to find a way to get a win.
Yeah, and the Rams, they didn't shoot the ball well, but you did just that. You came away with the win. And somebody asked me, said, well, just how big was that Air Force win, to escape? And I said, well, it was just as big as the win on the road to UNLV. I mean, you lose to Air Force at home, it just kind of X's out that UNLV win.
There's no question about it. All those games are important. You can only take them one at a time. Air Force is good. They're in a top 100 in the RPI. That's what I don't think people realize, is they have worked themselves into a top 100 team in the program at this point in the season. It's February 1st, basically. And I think that's an important factor to understand, is that this is more like the Air Force teams that went to the NIT Final Four and the NCAA tournament, not the teams that suffered through some hard times, just like we did a few years ago.
The Rams get the win 69-66. Then it was on the road to Salt Lake City to take on a surging Utah team. That was a ball club playing with a lot of confidence. They had won 3 straight. But, again, another tight game, and you guys were able to pull it out in the end.
Well, I looked at Utah, and you look at not only how they were playing, not only did they win, but how they were playing. And they won. They beat New Mexico by 17 at home. They won at Wyoming, which I think is really difficult to do, even though Wyoming's not got one of their best teams. They're still very tough there. As you can see, they beat New Mexico, and they won at TCU. And those are really quality wins. So I thought the kids did a nice job. We came out and really kind of got going quick. I think we scored the first 9 points in a hurry, and I felt pretty good. One of those teams, Utah, yeah. Utah made their first 4 threes, and I think they only made 5 or 6 for the game, but they made their first 4 in a row. And so you're kind of surviving that barrage thinking that, oh boy, they can't shoot like this all night. we've already endured this how many different times and ways. But the kids did a good job, and it was a big win.
Yeah, how about Andy Ogade? Because you knew he was going to be going up against a couple of 7-foot centers. And what does Andy do? He takes them outside and starts knocking down threes.
Yeah, they've got an NBA scheme when you run screen and roll offense, and that leaves your 5-man open on the perimeter. And Andy made 3 threes. He made some other maybe 2 jumpers to start the second half. All in all, he made 5 or 6 jump shots that, Andy can make. So now Andy on the year, I believe, is like 6 for 9 on threes or whatever it is, and he's a guy that he's practiced that shot. We've recorded that shot, and he can make them.
Colorado State ends up getting the win, and we talk about confidence in your basketball team, and it seems to be growing, but confidence on the road, and that's not an easy thing to attain.
No, you have to have a certain swag about you. You have to have a certain way of feeling about yourself, and certainly it's my job as a coach to schematically get them ready, motivate them, inspire them, get them in the fighting mood too, and I thought our guys really did. And there's 9,000-10,000 people at the game. We have a 13 or 11 point lead late, whatever it was. They come storming back. They tied up a couple times. The guys don't flinch. Andy makes a big play in there, I just thought it was really cool that our guys responded. Andy, I think, also had 2 big free throws in one of those runs. So those are big plays for us, and that's a mark of veteran leadership, maturity, all those things that your players display, and you hope they will.
Andy Ogade had a career-high 28 points in the victory against Utah. He was the co-Mountain West Conference Player of the Week last week. So the Rams get the win. They go to 15-6 overall, 5-2 in conference play. We'll talk more Colorado State men's basketball. Coming up next, we'll be joined by sophomore Greg Smith. That's next here on the Tim Miles Show.